Chapter 1 on Lim. After hearing what Suanan had said, Suya started to get angry in her heart, but her face did not reveal the least bit of displeasure. I understand, An. As she said that, she walked towards Suanan, indicating their intimacy. An, I will not tell him about the matter between you and Mr. Gu. But that man looks very rich. Why don't you move out of the Gu household and stay with him? Sigh. Suanan sighed. Yeah, my father sent me to Gu Mo Cheng. He still has something to request of Gu Mo Cheng. How can I say that I moved out of the Gu family? There was something wrong with the financial situation of the Sus. The second Uncle Su, who was working in the Sus, was no longer valued by his brother, but he was very clear that Su Hua was in a hurry to find someone to invest in the Sus. And if you can't leave the Gu family, then don't stay with him. It's not fair to him. Suya advised. Suanan disagreed. But I love him. There's no other way. Who asked me to love him? Hearing that, Suya's face turned pale. She disagreed with what Suanan had done and recalled the man's appearance, thinking Suanan was not her match. Yeah, you seem to be interested in my man. Suanan laughed and said directly. When Suya revealed that thought in her mind, her face reddened, and she did not admit it. Anan, I'm worried about you. Care? Suanan was disdainful. If she was truly concerned about herself, Suya would not listen to Su Zihan's and Jiang Mei's words and frame her as someone who would harm Su Zihan's small fortune. Thank you for your concern. Suanan laughed, then turned and walked up the stairs. Suya did not follow her. She looked at Suanan's back, seeming to have thought of the man that she had fallen in love with at first sight. When Suanan was walking upstairs, she met Su Hua and an old woman. This old woman was her own grandmother, but old lady Su had never liked Suanan. Firstly, this old woman valued her own son, and secondly, this old woman did not like her mother. Father? Suanan could only yield to her, but now, because Surochu could not tear up faces with her, she had to call him father. Furthermore, if she called him, it would not cut off a piece of her flesh, it would not hurt or itch. Suwa looked at Suanan and replied, Jinx. On the other hand, old lady Su, who was behind him, scolded Suanan. The look in her eyes towards Suanan was filled with disgust. Suanan smiled towards old lady Su. With that, she ignored old lady Su and said to Su Hua, Father, I'm going upstairs to play. Su Hua was very clear about what Surochu meant when she went upstairs. At that time, old lady Su was responsible for Surochu's escape. She was the one who suggested Su Hua to lock her up. Based on this matter, it was impossible for Suanan to treat old lady Su nicely. Right. Suanan had been obedient recently and allowed Gumocheng to invest a large amount of money into his project, so of course, she would give her a good look. After Suanan left, old lady Su, who was on the second floor, said to Su Hua, After raising them for so many years, they finally have some use. You wouldn't have let me throw her away. Now it seems that you made the right decision. This little girl is very beautiful and is liked by men. As old lady Su spoke, Su Hua's face darkened. There's no need to mention the past anymore, Su Hua said with a calm voice. Time passed so quickly. In the blink of an eye, 20 years had passed. Even now, he still remembered the feeling of taking Suanan from a nurse in the hospital. It was soft, making him unwilling to put it down. Got it, she then said. Oh right, Ahua. I want to bring my family members from my hometown over to my wedding ceremony. The relatives back home have never gone to a hotel to eat. Right, his birth was not good, and he had relied on his own hard work and the help of Suanan's mother to progress to where he was today. Old lady Su was extremely happy that Su Hua agreed to her suggestion. She had come from the countryside and had come home a few times before. The relatives were all envious of her because they knew that their eldest son had made a lot of money. This time, all the relatives were called over to let them have a good look. The most important thing was that their faces were shining. Suanan went to the top floor. It was much quieter than the noise on the first floor. She pushed the door open and entered. Surochu did not sleep. Elder sister. Suanan went over and called out. Surochu, who was sitting in a daze on the bed, raised her head when she heard Suanan's voice. Suanan looked at Surochu and stared at herself. She pursed her lips and laughed. Sis, just stay here for a few more days. She and Han Longyi are thinking of a way to take Big Sister out. The worst thing was that ever since she took Surochu away, Su Hua had installed a surveillance camera on the top floor of the pavilion, so as to not let her take his sister away. After taking her sister away, how could she arrange for her to stay? If Su Hua found them again after they brought Big Sister away and snatched her away, it would be even more difficult for her to bring Big Sister away next time. It was very possible that Su Hua wouldn't let her go up to the top floor even half a step. Elder sister, I want to talk to Gumocheng about you, okay? Suanan suddenly thought of Gumocheng and said to him. Han Longyi had also recommended her to tell Gumocheng about her sister's matter. Relying on Gumocheng's power, he brought his sister out and hid her away. She could not do all this, but Gumocheng could. He'll help me, won't he? Suanan replied. Min, he will definitely do that. As she spoke, Surochu smiled at her. Seeing Surochu laughing, Suanan also had a smile on her face. She was very happy to see her sister smile every day. If her sister could come over normally, she would be even happier. Elder sister, you also agree that I should tell Gumocheng about your matter, right? Suanan asked. Then I'll find a chance to talk to him and have him help you think of a way. Suanan realized that relying on her own strength was too weak. She might not be able to bring her sister out of Surochu's room, but Suhua had already noticed her. After finding Gumocheng, he would not be discovered and would instead be taken over by Gumocheng, and his sister would immediately be snatched over. The more Suanan thought about it, the more she felt that she had been so stupid before. She could obviously ask Gumocheng for help, but she had to think of a solution herself. She was too stupid. However, her relationship with Gumocheng wasn't as close as it was now, and she was always worried that Gumocheng would get tired of her one day. After hearing that she could get her certificate from him, Suanan knew that this man could truly rely on him for her entire life. As Suanan was talking with Surochu, Gumocheng called. Gumocheng knew that she had come to the Su family, so he called her. Chapter 112. When will you be back? Gumocheng asked directly. At the same time that he was worried, there were also people who missed her. Tomorrow morning, Suanan said softly, feeling that after she said those words, Gumocheng was not happy. Because he missed her, he didn't want her to sleep outside. Suanan thought about this and couldn't help but smile. Lying on the bed, Surochu coincidentally saw the smiling Suanan as well as her blissful expression. Gumocheng said, I live in the Su family. Yes. Suanan said, hubby, don't worry, I will be back tomorrow morning. I'm worried. Gumocheng said unhappily. Anan, Su family, you don't need to go back. Hubby, Suanan purposely said coquettishly, if you let me sleep for a night, then I'll sleep for a night. I'll accompany you when I return home tomorrow. Hearing Suanan's soft voice, Gumocheng felt extremely helpless. Even though he had kidnapped someone and brought them back, he had given up on this idea because of the word husband. Let's go to bed early, Gumocheng said. Suhua treated Suanan so ruthlessly, but Suanan kept on running towards the Su family. There must be some secret behind it. Gumocheng thought of Suanan's elder sister, Surochu. Maybe Suanan returning to the Su family often had something to do with Surochu. However, according to his knowledge, Surochu had not gone abroad 7 years ago. The man she married was not from one of the Peace City's 5 great clans, but his family background was also not bad. The Su family had overpowered him. Right? Suanan replied. She was unwilling to hang up the phone with him. She looked at Surochu, who was still sleeping on the bed, and said to Gumocheng, who was on the phone, hubby, good night. After saying that, she looked at Surochu, and her face flushed. I love you. She spoke shyly to the man on the phone. When Gumocheng heard those 3 words, he was startled in his heart. He couldn't tell what he was feeling, but when he finally reacted, Suanan had already hung up the phone. I love you. Gumocheng was familiar with this kind of confession. Although he hadn't been looking for a woman all these years, he had been confessed to quite a number of times. They had said that they were interested in him, or that they had fallen in love with him. However, the impact that Suanan gave him was not more than what he felt when she said those 3 words. Did this little girl understand the 3 words, I love you? Gumocheng thought in his heart. He did not know that when he thought about what Suanan had said, the corners of his mouth hooked up into a smile. Tonight, without Suanan accompanying him, he was destined to lose sleep. Gumocheng started to smoke. He used to smoke because he was annoyed by the little girl, but because he had been confessed to by her tonight, he couldn't fall asleep and relied on the cigarette to recall her memories. After Suanan hung up the phone, she thought of the bold words she had said to Gumocheng just now, and her face turned hot. She touched her own face. She was so embarrassed that she actually said, I love you to Gumocheng in front of her sister. Suanan thought, and turned to look at Surochu, who was sitting on the bed. Seeing that Surochu was still staring blankly at the front, she walked over and smiled. Sister, did you hear anything just now? Surochu looked at her and laughed, but did not say a word. If you hear it, then pretend you didn't. But I'm really in love with him, Suanan said as she threw herself into Surochu's embrace. Big sister, I didn't understand why you would do this for love. But I now understand that if someone else were to separate me and Gumocheng one day, I would definitely not do that. If I fall in love with him, I will be with him for the rest of my life. This was what Suanan thought. It was simple. She only wanted to be with the people she liked. No matter what difficulties were ahead of her, she only wanted to be with the man she loved. However, if it was the current Surochu, if she loved that person, for that person's good, she would definitely not insist on being with him. Perhaps she would let go, or at least let the people she loved not be so miserable for their love. And she chose the right man to live with. Suanan quickly fell asleep. Because she had Gumocheng, there was love in her heart, and she slept soundly. From time to time, her lips would curl up into a smile, and then she fell asleep and drooled. Just like when he was young, he always liked to drool when sleeping. She really was a girl that hadn't grown up. Surochu looked at Suanan's face and suddenly revealed a smile. This smile was different from the previous one. It was no longer a silly smile, but a gentle one. She reached out her hand and wiped away the saliva at the corner of Suanan's mouth. Anan, she called. The Suanan in her dreams seemed to hear someone calling her. She thought that person was Gumocheng and replied, Hubby, I want to sleep. This girl is Gumo Cheng, even in her dreams. In the morning, Suanan woke up from her sleep and helped her sister wash her face, changed her clothes, and prepared to leave the Su's. She never thought that when she met Su Zihan and Jiang Mei downstairs, Su Zihan would bear a grudge against her, and felt that Suanan wanted to snatch Mu Jinyu away from her. In this aspect, Suanan felt that Su Zihan was very similar to her. Mu Jinyu must have felt that she, Suanan, still loved him a lot, so he intentionally angered her and kicked her to get his attention. Jiang Mei did not express her anger at all. She smiled and said to Suanan, "Let her be Su Zihan's bridesmaid." Yaya has already agreed. You are Zihan's little sister, you should be her bridesmaid. Sister? Su Zihan was of the same father and mother as her, and furthermore, Su Zihan had never treated her as her younger sister. Isn't that a lie? No, Suanan rejected her flatly. She could smell a conspiracy in Jiang Mei's words. Who knew that she would become Su Zihan's bridesmaid? They would, if they didn't join hands, she would sell it. The last time Su Zihan drugged her and gave her to Jiang Shengshu, Suanan still remembered that incident. The scar on her wound had yet to heal. She would be so stupid as to move closer to the wound, yet her surname was not Ma? Hearing Suanan's rejection, Jiang Mei's face changed. Anan, Zihan will get married once in a lifetime. Before she finished speaking, Suanan replied, Who knows? Not sure if Su Zihan and Mu Jinyu were to get divorced. Jiang Mei was still thinking of continuing to say that as a sister, you should do your best as well. Being blocked by Suanan's words, the air in her chest immediately became uncomfortable. Su Zihan said angrily, Suanan, what nonsense are you spouting? Suanan ignored them and directly left the Su family. Watching Suanan leave, Su Zihan asked, Mom, what if she doesn't fall for it? Jiang Mei was also frustrated in her heart. There was nothing she could do to Suanan and the others who were becoming more and more arrogant. Right now Suanan was leaning on Gumo Cheng, and Su Hua did not allow them to touch her. The only way to deal with Suanan was to disrupt their relationship. Chapter 1 and 13. Grandmother wants us to bring Suanan to the Jiang family. Look at her, she doesn't want to come with us at all. Su Zihan continued. Of course, Jiang Mei knew clearly that it was because of this that she had intentionally invited Suanan to be her bridesmaid. Waiting until Suanan and Su Zihan were together, she joined Su Zihan and the others to bring Suanan to the Jiang family. However, Suanan simply ignored them. If Grandma can't see Suanan, she's going to be angry at us again. Su Zihan said angrily. It was all Suanan's fault. She had been bitten by a dog in Jiang Shengshu's place. Because of this, the Jiang family was a mess. They wanted to look for Han Longyi to treat Jiang Shengshu, but they couldn't find him. After that, they sent him to another country, saying that Jiang Shengshu had delayed the best treatment, causing him to become a cripple there. The only son of the Jiang family was actually crippled, and this matter of succession to the sect could not continue any longer. The people of the Jiang family were both sad and angry, especially so for Old Lady Jiang. Old Lady Jiang wanted Jiang Mei to bring Suanan to the Jiang family. Not only would she kowtow and apologize to Jiang Shengshu, she would also need Suanan to pay the price. With Gumo Cheng's protection, Jiang Mei did not dare to come out in the open. So she wanted Suanan to become Su Zihan's bridesmaid and lure her to the Jiang family. No rush, let's think of another way. Jiang Mei said. Although she was not anxious, she was extremely anxious. Her mother doted on Jiang Shengshu very much. Jiang Shengshu being useless was practically wrenching the old lady's heart. The old granny hated Suanan to her bones. Tomorrow is Su Zihan's and Mu Jinyu's wedding. When Gumo Cheng returned at night, he told Suanan that he would be busy tomorrow and wouldn't be able to accompany her there. Suanan never thought of letting Gumo Cheng accompany her to attend their wedding. It was too late for her to hide such a good man like Gumo Cheng, so she didn't want to bring him out to attract bees and butterflies. Asuya, who only saw Gumo Cheng once, had her eyes set on him. Suanan didn't want to have more Suyas, even if Gumo Cheng wasn't interested in them. It would be tiring for her to deal with them. Yes, Suanan replied. Tomorrow, Uncle Chen will drive you there. Gumo Cheng said again. At the time of the wedding, he really had something he couldn't leave, but the gifts he prepared for Suanan had already been prepared. Suanan looked at Gumo Cheng and laughed. Hubby, are you worried that I will be bullied by them? Gumo Cheng nodded and replied with an N. He had a deep impression of Suanan going to the Su family, getting slapped and drugged. As such, she could not be at ease when she came into contact with the people of the Su family. Even if Suanan relied on him, the people who wanted to deal with her wouldn't give up just because she was his wife. Moreover, he had been ruthless in his actions all these years, offending many people. Those people dared not speak out against him, as they could not guarantee that they knew of her relationship with Suanan and wanted to make their move against him. I'm not that useless, Suanan retorted. The reason she got beaten up by Su Zihan was because they used their sister to force her. I'm very powerful. Hearing Suanan's boasts, Gumo Cheng laughed. She's indeed strong. He looked at Suanan with a smile and said, both the shoulder throw and kick are very powerful. These words made Suanan feel embarrassed. She thought of what Gumo Cheng had said about shoulder throw. When did he ever see her shoulder throw anyone? He had only recently seen her throw Mu Jingyu in the market. Suanan suddenly remembered. After throwing Mu Jinyu down, Gumo Cheng's number immediately came back to her. At that time, Gumo Cheng was also in the shopping mall, and he had thrown Mu Jinyu over his shoulder. Her good image seemed to be gone. Hubby, if I'm not as obedient as you think, what should I do? Suanan raised her head and asked. Gumo Cheng put down the book in his hand and turned to look at Suanan. How disobedient. It's not good to hit people, but some people should be hit. Gumo Cheng was sure that Suanan was right when she hit Mu Jinyu. It's not a good thing to let others take advantage of you. Suanan felt extremely warm inside after hearing what Gumo Cheng had said. It seemed that she had done the right thing in Gumo Cheng's eyes. Just as Suanan was thinking about this, Gumo Cheng added, being more obedient is better than Ziming. Ziming? Suanan remembered that Gumo Cheng had a nephew who was around his age called Gu Ziming. Last time at the Gu household, Gu Ziming had listened to old woman Gu's orders. He was very disobedient and often drove and drank wine outside. He likes racing, Suanan asked tentatively. Her hands itched at the thought of racing. Right, Gumo Cheng answered, then turned to Suanan and said seriously, Anan, driving is very dangerous. You shouldn't go and play around with things like this. Because of this, the smile on Suanan's face froze. She really liked driving. In the future, she must not go to the racetrack, and she must not let Gumo Cheng find out that she was the one who bumped into her car. Oh, Suanan replied. Mu Jinyu was the eldest son of the Mu family, and Su Zihan's grandmother was the eldest son. Even if this was the case, it would not attract the attention of all the media in Peace City. The media did not know why, but every day, they would broadcast their marriage, saying that they were a perfect couple, that they were a strong alliance, and that it was impossible for the people in the entire Peace City to know about them. A wedding ceremony receiving such a huge welcome was rarely seen in Peace City. Su Zihan was extremely happy when she saw her wedding being posted on Weibo and TV every day. This greatly gratified her vanity and convinced her that the media were flattering her. Suanan went to the Mu family for the wedding, which was sent there by Uncle Chen. Suanan didn't bring Whitey out this time. Bringing a dog to attend Mu Jinyu's wedding was indeed very eye-catching, but Gumo Cheng didn't like her being together with Whitey recently. She asked Uncle Chen the reason in confusion. Uncle Chen smiled and did not tell Suanan the reason. Later, Suanan found out that Gumo Cheng didn't allow her to carry Whitey. The reason was simple. Whitey was a male dog. Thinking of this reason, Suanan felt that this 30-year-old old man was extremely cute. She got off the car and looked up at the big hotel that belonged to the Gu family. It was her husband's house after all, and just by looking at the big hotel entrance, she could tell that it was high-end. Otherwise, why would the proud Su Hua and Mu Jin place their tables here? Suanan got off the car. She was wearing a milky white dress, and the accessories were chosen by Gu Mo Cheng. The necklace on her neck was already worth millions. It was no less than the blue tears. Suanan did not want to bring such a precious necklace, but she liked all the things that Gu Mo Cheng gave her. There were also expensive benefits that could make Suhan jealous to death. When she entered, she immediately attracted the attention of the entire audience. There was no other way, whether it was Gumo Cheng picking people or choosing clothes, he had sharp eyes. She was wearing a pink suit that made Suanan's skin pale. She was beautiful to begin with, and with her young age, just a simple makeup would be enough to suppress the limelight that was the bride Su Zihan. When Su Zihan saw the beautiful Suanan, she grinded her teeth in anger. This was her wedding. This slut still wants to snatch brother Jinyu even now. As Su Zihan was thinking, she turned her head to look at Mu Jinyu. Mu Jinyu had also been staring at her the moment Suanan came in. Her gaze landed on Suanan's shoulder, which was half revealed outside. At the last Su family banquet, she was shocked by Suanan, and this time he felt that Suanan was even more beautiful. Chapter 114. Even if Suanan had beaten him up twice, he would still want her. The more he couldn't get it, the more he was concerned. If Suanan had dressed up so prettily like before, he would never have given up on her and Su Zihan. When Suanan saw their two faces that were filled with emotions, she revealed a smile. Especially when she saw the green and purple look on Mu Jinyu's face, she felt that it was very interesting. If only he could cripple Mu Jinyu. As Suanan was thinking, she walked over and handed the red packet over. As a sister, she generously gave him 1,000 yuan. It was enough for her to eat tonight's dinner. Su Zihan looked at Mu Jinyu with a gloomy face. When her eyes fell on Suanan, she clenched her teeth, feeling extremely hateful. Mu Jinyu didn't know what kind of knockout medicine he had been drugged by Suanan, but after their marriage date was set, Mu Jinyu actually didn't love her as much as before. Suanan looked at Su Zihan strangely, then looked at Mu Jinyu. Sister, brother-in-law, I wish you 100 years of good harmony and will never part from each other. They had to stay together for the rest of their lives. Don't come and harm her. He came back to his senses first upon hearing Suanan's voice. He wanted to reach out and take the red packet from Suanan's hands and also touch her hands to tell her what she meant. But the tragedy was that his hands were broken, so he couldn't understand. They had their hands tied previously, even when they went to receive Su Zihan earlier. They did not hold back when they had to receive guests. Suanan felt that something was wrong with Mu Jinyu's hands. Could it be that not only was he beaten up, both of his hands were also broken? With a cold expression, Su Zihan received Suanan's red packet. As she touched the outside, she immediately felt that Suanan did not bag it much. Which of the guests who attended her wedding paid less than $10,000? Forget it. Forget it. Even if Suanan followed Gumocheng would not have much money to spend on her. Thinking about how Suanan helped him to follow the old man and how she managed to get married to Mu Jinyu as she wished, Su Zihan felt extremely proud of herself. Suanan walked into the banquet hall, and the moment she entered, she saw Mu Jin and his wife entertaining guests. Their expressions immediately changed when they saw Suanan. Thinking about it again, since Suanan was someone from the Su family and was Su Zihan's younger sister who was born from the same father and mother as her, she could only suppress the displeasure in her heart. They had endured the fact that Su family had so many relatives in the countryside, and Suanan was not one of them. Old Man Mu saw it the moment Suanan entered the banquet hall. When he saw Suanan with her originally sullen face, he immediately revealed a smile. "Anan, come over to grandfather's side." Suanan also saw the Old Man Mu. Hearing him call her, she followed him. Old Man Mu did not agree with Mu Jinyu and Su Zihan's marriage, but since Mu Jinyu and Su Zihan had already broken off their marriage, and Su Zihan had no children from Mu Jinyu, there was nothing he could do even if he did not like it. They might as well go and stir up some trouble. "Greetings, Grandpa," Suanan called out with a smile, then sat in front of the Old Man Mu. Suanan sat in front of the Old Man Mu and accompanied the old man in speaking. "Gumocheng did not come?" the old man asked with a smile. Suanan stared blankly for a moment. She thought about the last time Old Lady Gu came to Mu family to testify for him. At that time, the old man should have already known about the relationship between him and Gumocheng. "He didn't come because of something," Hanan replied. Old Man Mu smiled and replied, "Oh. With Gumocheng here, the main character of the wedding would change. His judgment is better than Jin Yu's," the Old Man Mu said. Wu Jinyu didn't know how to cherish, so he gave up on Suanan and married her. Hearing Old Man Mu praise Gumocheng, Suanan said happily, "My eyes are also very good." Seeing Suanan laughing happily, Old Man Mu also laughed. 10 years ago, Gumocheng and that woman, although the Gu family and Zhang family did not talk about it for many years, Old Man Mu still heard about it. Gumocheng and Gu Zhen were similar. Both were infatuated men. However, Gumocheng did not succeed as Gu Zhen did, as the first woman he met betrayed him. The little girl in front of him was younger than Gumocheng, but she could tell that their relationship was very good. Before the wedding, Suanan went to the toilet. On her way back, she welcomed Mu Jinyu in front of her. Seeing Mu Jinyu walking over, Suanan immediately walked to the side to avoid bumping into him. Mu Jinyu only came over because he saw Suanan going to the washroom. Seeing Suanan pulling away from him, he could not help but be angry. He was so kind to her, but she didn't want to be with him. Mu Jinyu walked past her with a gloomy face. Suanan thought that Mu Jinyu knew that it was his wedding day and wouldn't do anything shameful. In fact, she was wrong. When she was passing through, after walking a few steps forward, she heard Mu Jinyu's cold, heavy voice. "Anan, I'll give you one more chance. As long as you nod your head, I'll leave with you immediately." Fuck. When Suanan heard this, she couldn't help but curse. Didn't Mu Jinyu get beaten up enough by her? He actually thought that she liked him. Where did he see her interest in him? Furthermore, today was a good day for him and Su Zihan. He had run over here to bring her away. Mu Jinyu's brain isn't bad. No matter how bad Su Zihan is, he has been slept over by him, and he has even carried his child. This man was even worse than Suwa. "Suanan, I'll give you one last chance." Seeing Suanan walking ahead and ignoring him, Mu Jinyu turned around and followed her. He suddenly forgot that his hand was injured and reached out towards her. Before he could even hear Suanan, she had already heard his yes sound. Suanan's eyes lit up, looking at Mu Jinyu's frown, then looking at his hand. His hand wouldn't be broken by someone. "What happened to your hand?" Suanan asked. Hearing Suanan's question, Mu Jinyu thought that she cared about him and immediately revealed a smile on his face. And Anne had feelings for him for many years. Furthermore, her appearance and age were above Gumocheng, so Suanan definitely liked him. "Anan, you're worried about me," Mu Jinyu laughed. Suanan was completely speechless towards him. She wanted to ask him who could so easily break his hand. Who interrupted your hand? She had to thank this person when she saw him. Mu Jinyu had to give this kind of person a fierce beating, so much so that every time he saw her, he would feel like sticking to her like a piece of candy. When he mentioned the person who had beaten him, Mu Jinyu's face darkened. "If I find out who this person is, I definitely won't let him off easy." In that case, Mu Jinyu did not know who had broken his hand. Suanan suddenly lost all interest in talking to him. "Anan." After seeing that Suanan had finished asking and was about to leave, Mu Jinyu walked up unwillingly and stopped her where she was going. "Anan, the past is really my fault. You'll forgive me, won't you? We'll start over. Don't worry, I won't do anything that would let you down." "Mu Jinyu, are you all right?" Suanan said as she reached out her hands to touch his. Mu Jinyu experienced her shoulder throw and was kicked fiercely by her. Seeing Suanan clench her fist, he took a step back. Anan, you obviously like me. Why are you treating me like this? I already said, as long as you agree to be with me, I won't care about what you do, and I won't be with Suzihan again. All my life, I've been good to you. Chapter 115, Mu Jinyu said angrily. He was afraid of Suanan now, but looking at Suanan's pretty face and pretty body, he couldn't help but get closer. In this period of time, he had always dreamed of Suanan, of himself pressing her down below. Don't provoke me again. Suanan warned in a stern voice, scram and get married, otherwise don't blame me for being impolite. Mu Jinyu saw anger and disgust in Suanan's eyes. He understood clearly in his heart that Suanan no longer liked him, but even so, he wasn't willing to accept it. Suanan was obviously his fiancée. Before he could even touch her, she had already been taken away by another man. He called out again. Seeing the anger in Suanan's eyes, he did not step forward but instead clenched his hands into fists. If not for the fact that his hands were crippled, Mu Jinyu would have immediately hugged Suanan and kissed her. She was his woman. Suanan turned around, intending to leave, but she really had back. When she turned around, she saw Su Zihan walking towards them with a calm face. He did not know how much Su Zihan had heard from her, but his face had turned ashen from anger anyway. She never thought that he and Mu Jinyu would actually tell Suanan that they were going to bring Suanan out after the wedding ceremony. Suanan, you slut! Su Zihan roared at Suanan. Suanan was startled. Why did she feel that she was wronged? Su Zihan must have heard what Mu Jinyu said to her. But Su Zihan's brain was not working well. Su Zihan, I have no interest in your man. Suanan reiterated. Unfortunately, her words were useless, and Su Zihan could not hear her. It was just like how she had told Mu Jinyu hundreds of times that she was not interested in him. No matter how Suanan looked at it, she felt that the two of them were too compatible. It was simply a perfect match. The two of them had to be together. Also, are you blind? I can't tell that your brother Jinyu is pestering me. Suanan was also angry. These two people kept on pestering her. Do you think she's easy to bully? They were already annoying her to the point of wanting to beat someone up. You treasure your brother Jinyu. He is just trash in my eyes. Suanan said angrily. Such a trash of a man. Quickly hide him. I feel disgusted just by looking at him. Suanan scolded Mu Jinyu mercilessly, and along the way she scolded Su Zihan as well. After hearing Suanan's words, Mu Jinyu's face darkened. Su Zihan was so angry that her face turned red. She pointed at Suanan and scolded. Suanan, you're just jealous that I'm married to brother Jinyu. You're purposely spouting such words. I want brother Jinyu to marry you. No way. Suanan glared at her. There was definitely something wrong with Su Zihan's head. Even though she had explained it so clearly, she still felt that she had been blinded by Mu Jinyu. Forget it. If she did not speak any more with Su Zihan, it would just be a waste of her saliva. She didn't plan to care about Su Zihan and Mu Jinyu, but seeing the situation, it wouldn't be that easy for her to leave. Because the Su family's groom and bride were both here, a lot of people surrounded them, including Jian Mei. If there was a place with Jian Mei, there would definitely be a crying show. As expected, when Jian Mei saw Su Zihan and the other two, she immediately became sorrowful. Anan, today is your sister's and Jinyu's wedding. Why are you still pestering Jinyu? I know that Jinyu was originally betrothed to you, but you two have already broken off your engagement. Now, Jinyu has already gotten the marriage certificate from Zihan. He's your brother-in-law. You can't do such a shameless thing. You even have to seduce your brother-in-law. Jian Mei talked about a lot of things with Suanan, but they were all saying that Suanan was shameless and stole her brother-in-law. Received a pass? Suanan got the main point. Mu Jinyu and Su Zihan had already verified it. This was really good news. She then looked at Mu Jinyu. This Mu Jinyu was too good. He had already married Su Zihan. What was he still going to say to her about taking her away? This was because he wanted her to be his mistress. A man like her would definitely covet his beauty. How could he like her even the slightest bit? Suanan was very clear about this, but Su Zihan was still not very clear about it. There were a lot of reporters who came to Mu Jinyu and his wife's wedding, and their argument had attracted the attention of the reporters. Jian Mei had long seen them and purposely called out for them. Anan, last time you caused Zihan to have no children. Why are you destroying their marriage? Jian Mei continued to criticize Suanan. Suanan pursed her lips into a smile as she listened to Jian Mei's words. They were really a group of blind bastards. Didn't they see that it was Mu Jinyu that was pestering her? Auntie, I'm not. Suanan said with a smile. She watched as more and more people gathered around her and reminded Jian Mei in goodwill. Auntie, you guys are wasting your time on me. You guys aren't afraid of delaying the auspicious time. It would be unlucky if the wedding was over. After Suanan finished speaking, Su Zihan scolded angrily. Suanan, you curse me. There's nothing wrong with Su Zihan's brain. She could hear her words. Suanan's words weren't much, but it made sense. Mu family had asked someone to calculate the time for the wedding ceremony, so they could not delay it. An, since you're here to attend the wedding, don't pester your brother-in-law, Jian Mei said as she walked in front of Su Zihan. Mom, Su Zihan shouted angrily. Suanan snatched brother Jinyu away from my sight. Jian Mei did not speak. One could tell from the way Mu Jinyu looked at Suanan whether she had snatched Mu Jinyu away or not. Just then, Mu Jinyu stared straight at Suanan and did not even look at her. Zihan, the time for the wedding ceremony is near. Let's go in first, Jiang Mei said. Su Zihan looked up at the reporters around her. She did not want to miss such a good opportunity to take care of Suanan. And An, brother Jinyu is my husband. Even if you like him, you should understand the principle of not stealing her husband. Su Zihan pulled Jiang Mei's hand away, walked to Suanan and said. As she said that, she looked at the reporters on the side. Her eyes turned red, and tears flowed down her cheeks. Seeing Su Zihan's ability to cry whenever she wanted to, Suanan remembered that she had only learned how to act. Suanan looked at her tears and her lips curled into a smile, as she looked at Mu Jinyu, who was behind Su Zihan. The man said he loved her and wanted to be with her. Something had really happened and he had never stood up to speak up for her. Suanan was not upset because of this, but instead rejoiced. Because if she met Gumo Cheng, no matter what happened to her, Gumo Cheng would be the first one to stand out and support her. Mu Jinyu looked at Suanan and smiled as well. He was waiting for Suanan to open her mouth and beg him for help. An, as long as you are with me. She stared at Suanan and bellowed, You shameless bitch, you still dare to say that you didn't snatch brother Jinyu away? After she finished speaking, Jiang Mei immediately reached out to pull her. With so many reporters here, Su Zihan did not care about her image. How could she be so angry like a young lady with no temperament at all? Not interested. Suanan smiled.